So yeah, today's one is about actors and let's call them fake flag events. Now I know some people go, "Oh, it's not called fake; it's called, something else, another word." I'll say a few more words and then I can actually say it. False. There you go. But obviously, I can't refer to it by that name if I'm going to use the other word after it. So we'll call it fake flag, right? To avoid censorship and shadow banning and stuff like that. So basically these fake flag events, you need actors of crisis, don't you, sometimes? Most of the time, actually, to pull some of these things off. So whatever you've concocted, you need some what do they call it? Eyewitnesses, yeah, eyewitnesses. And, to tell the plebs about what really happened that never did. So you have those types of people who do acting roles, The big club hires actors. And then the other role that the big club hires people for is to perform acting roles in let's call it the alternative mainstream media. I don't like this phrase, truthers, well, it's a word, isn't it? But I don't like that. But, those sorts of people that portray themselves as being the opposition, when in fact they're anything but. I think it was Stalin that once said the best way to control the opposition is to be the opposition. And these people are like that. So anyway, again, the big club, they can't help but use symbols, like the pyramid and all of that, the purple and, all the other kind of paraphernalia that they're into, the numbers, 33% extra free and all of that. Now, what's interesting is, sometimes these actors of crisis, they get a telephone call or maybe an email or maybe just a knock on the door, and they get told, "You kind of messed up, mate. Here, the big club needs to get you to reauthenticate yourself." Because you've done something here that is likely to have alerted the plebs that you're controlled opposition, you're a shrill. So one of those things happened at the weekend. As you know, I'm 58, so I'm an old boy. But I remember my dad, I just remembered this actually at the weekend. When I was at primary school, so, I don't know, 5 or 6, I didn't really like school then. Never really liked it, actually, to be perfectly honest. Too many rules and stuff. But anyway, I remember, trying to pull a sickie, so I could just stay at home and chill, rather than going to primary school. So I would pretend to be ill when I wasn't. So I'd do an acting role, I'd go, oh, your dad, I'm a bit ill, I've got a cold, can I stay off? And, he would, most of the time, sometimes it worked. Sometimes my acting must have been convincing. I saw some less than convincing acting. In fact, my dad used to call it the dying Swan, which is some reference to a ballet dancer from the 1920s. Maybe I'll show you a picture now. So anyway, I'm watching this video from somebody who pretty sure now is controlled opposition, and he's trying to pretend that they they've been getting at his Croft original sherry, and they've been tampering with it. So the video starts off, and he's at an angle to the camera, you know, not his normal angle. So you're thinking straight away, ooh, what's up? What's up with Tricky Dickie? And he then starts, you know, doing his dying swan act. Right, and the video's about, oh, I don't know, video's like at least 5 minutes long, probably 10 minutes long, something like that. And anyway, what's really hilarious is that he maintains his dying swan act for all of maybe 90 seconds, 2 minutes. Hilarious. It actually reminds me, you know, of when I used to work, the last school that I worked at in England was an independent school, what they call in England a public school. One that selects on ability to pay rather than kind of academic intelligence. You know, your parents wealthy enough to send you to one of these places. They're always really keen on acting. You know, it was a big thing, acting in those schools, far more so than in a state school or a state sixth form college. You know, and I know why, really, because the big club needs actors. The problem with many of these big club members, though, who go on to perform acting roles for the big club, is that they've lived very isolated lives, so they can't. They're not very good at acting. Their acting performances are not terribly convincing. You know, it just smacks of fakeness. And anyway, I certainly got that from Tricky Dickie. Yeah, anyway, other things emerge, you know. So do you think YouTube, right, serious question, yeah, are they fans of the truth? Have a think about it. What do you reckon? Do you think that they've banned a number of my videos? Do you think I'm you know, bearing in mind that I had videos banned, do you think that they would be they would view me as a truth teller? Anyway, I was told this morning, you know, that Tricky Dickie, yeah, he's got a YouTube award stuck on his wall, and he's been awarded for truth. You know, it's just like, what? Honestly, like, how much more obvious does it have to be? It's just ridiculous. Oh yeah, and the other one as well is that you know, the big club, they love the old one eye symbolism. Now, I'm not going to talk about one-eyed dick because you'll think I'm being crude. I think I'll be talking about that vegan sausage thing that I posted up on the community page, but no. There's more one-eyed symbolism on Tricky Dickie's channel. So if you actually look at his recent videos, he's got a peacock's feather in a vase right behind him. And peacock feathers, they have, if you know, you know, beauty of God, actually, that it's got like an eye. It must be to distract its enemies or something like that. So there's on a peacock feather, there's what looks like an eye about halfway up. Anyway, it must just be a coincidence that Tricky Dickie's got one of these peacock feathers with a one eye showing in a vase just to his left as he's speaking to you on his Gulag Tube videos. So yeah, so basically I think, you know, the Dying Swan video that he did, it was all about trying to reauthenticate himself to you guys, that he's not dodgy, he's one of us, you know, and you should trust him again. The second part of Tricky Dickie's video is also quite interesting in that he talks about an interesting encounter with the police where they're with people who want money from him because he's not paid for something. And then there's all this stuff about, you know, that legal identity, legal name fraud, all of that type of stuff. More of that in a second. So, what was the point of that? Dead easy. It's all about fear, isn't it? So, Tricky Dickie's handlers basically thought, well, like, we need to get the plebs fearful, you know, not just to reauthenticate Tricky, but to also get people to be convinced that if you speak out against the state, the police will come for you. And you know, apparently these people, these police, they didn't look like police. They had tracksuit bottoms on. My God. One's glass of Croft original sherry, isn't it, that one? So yeah, so basically what is that about? It's about self-censorship. I have done videos about that in the past. Many of these events that they pull, where, you know, well-known truthers who are in fact controlled opposition, who get imprisoned or arrested, or, you know, I'm thinking, you know, Alex Belfield, Tommy the football fan from Luton. There's loads of them, loads and loads of them. So they're, oh, and also these pro Palestine demonstrators and that, you know, with the placards. These people are just actors. They're all actors. The people being arrested, it's one set of police arresting another set of police. Why bother? All about fear. It's like you watch that and you think, oh, that could happen to me as well. Maybe I should shut up. Maybe I should start towing the line, because look at what they did to poor old Tricky Dickie for speaking the truth. And it's just a fabrication. The whole thing is just a fabrication, with the goal being of getting you to silence yourself. That's yeah. And if you can't see that, there's not much hope for you. You see, they haven't got enough resources to actually police us all. There's just too many of us. There's 30% of, I don't know what the population is in Britain, 70 million. You know, so there's just no way they haven't got enough resources to do that. So what they rely on is us censoring ourselves. And to do that, they need to create fear. So they stage events. I've just remembered the other thing I was going to talk about. Do you remember when the Deadly Divot was in play and they had the rule of 6 and all of that? There was a number of videos that appeared on YouTube, AstroTurf ones, where the police were roughing people up and arresting people for breaking these rules. Yeah, I'm certain almost all of these were staged. These were more actors. And again, the goal is to create fear. Oh, I better wear my underpants on my face too, because look at what happened to this person on the underground. The police duffed them up and gave them a £2,000 fine. So it's all about fear. Fear gets you to comply, so they don't need the resources. Then they can actually, the job becomes manageable for them rather, if we self-censor. Okay, then. So the last thing is to consider what is the role that the big club had in mind for Tricky Dickie when they created him. It's a bit like that Human League song, isn't it? You know, don't you want me, baby? Where it says, I made you and I can put you back down there too, or something like that. So this is an informed guess here, I think. So recently, Tricky Dickie, he's been pushing a number of ideas. The first one is, don't pay for your council tax. Not a big fan of taxation myself. I'm a libertarian. However, I think encouraging other people not to pay their council tax is dangerous, because a very large debt can accumulate very quickly. You add in the compound interest, and all of a sudden the person who decided not to pay their council tax has their home repossessed because they're unable to pay the debt that was created by, you know, their decision not to pay the council tax. So there's that. The other nonsense that he's been pushing is common law and Magna Carta and all of that. The truth of these things is that these basic human rights that are set out in these documents are not being enforced in UK courts of law, haven't been for centuries, and people that have been conned, let's use that word, conned, tricked by people like Dickie into relying on them as a legal defence. They, without exception, get laughed out of court, and you know, bad things happen to the person that's tricked. You know, again, fines, debt. You will own nothing, and you'll be happy. Your assets may end up being repossessed to pay off the legal fees and the debt that was created by you know, your decision to try to go with common law and Magna Carta rights. For me, in the future, what I would like to see is those rights formalised into a new, unalterable UK constitution. But that obviously has to happen first before you can start relying on those rights. You know, for all intents and purposes, Magna Carta is not. It's not a UK constitution. It's not legally valid anyway. It's just a historical document. It means, at the moment, it means nothing. It means the square root of nothing. But Dickie has actually been pushing the opposite, and it's extremely dangerous. So yeah, that's all I want to say really. Lots of things in that video. Just some of it is just fairly laughable, isn't it? You know, but the big club, they need actors, and Dickie, in fact, that's what he used to be, wasn't it? Before his sudden meteoric rise to fame in the alternative mainstream media, that's what Dickie was. He was an actor. So yeah, that's all I want to say today. So God bless.